The views, opinions, and comments shared in this video podcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions by this broadcast. We don't promote or encourage any illegal activities. All content provided by this channel are meant for educational purposes only.
In this country as well, that we just, as urbanization take place, you remove vegetation, you put on road, you put on garage, you don't talk about parking lot, just go down by Wassa and you will see what's going on. 3/4 of the space being occupied is parking lot. Now, when you answer the question about why you want to do this, anybody want to venture a response quickly? Because you're here, so that means you have an intention. Why you want to do this? Huh? Correct. You want to be able to help your own household food supply. So even if, now I just spend about $80 in the order of on season alone every week. Side was $10 a bundle. Celery was $10 a bundle. Imagine, no, this one we just chopped down in the yard. Shadow Benny, $10 a bundle. It's going on a little bit now. And in fact, one of the most weirdest things in food prices in Trinidad is how could tomato drop from $24 a pound 1 week to £4 for $20 the next week. Right? That is a baffling question to me. And has always been, ever since I know about food production and the agriculture thing. No, so you want to sustain your own, now, your own food bill, because food is expensive. So every single dollar that you could save from buying any item is a dollar in your pocket to do something else, to buy something else. The other part of the equation to that is most people, I mentioned anything about everybody have something in their yard, and we have to go with that. Good? Urban agriculture, and I want to introduce the concept of container culture. We had the thing about grow box. Everybody talking grow box, and you buy some 6x8 concrete block, and you put on that on the ground, and you fill it up with soil, and that's a grow box. But grow box is really part of what you call container culture. You could have those empty Jalita bottles. I see people take those 2-liter Jalita bottles and put tomato plants in and put them upside down, hang them on the fence, and they get in tomatoes. Right? The ministry sent us on a tour some time ago where we see people who are growing tomato in pots, like flower pots and things, and they actually go holding 6 to 8 pounds of real good tomatoes per plant. For instance, I all those water bottles, the gallon ones, cut off the top, fill them up with soil, because that's what agriculture is, you know. A container with soil, you plant it and you have to take care. The ministry people are here and they promise, or they have pledged some support in terms of technical advice and that kind of, helping to manage the crop and so on. And we have ways and means that could be done easily now. We could print things and have people think. But I want to encourage, just as Mr. Larry had said, you have to start. The ministry not going to run in and say, well, all these people looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and we'll get them some money. No. If you start up, like you start with the same container thing I tell you about, you don't need 5 acres of land or 1 acre of land. If you're living in a high-rise apartment and you have a balcony, you could put something on the balcony. You could put some side. You could put celery. You could put different things. You could start. And you could finance that yourself. Like me, I used to drink plenty. I just drink plenty beer. So I decided I would cut down on beer. So if I cut down on 1 beer per day, at the end of the week I might save $80, $90. So I will take that money and I will buy something that I need. I will buy the seed. I will buy some fertilizer. I will buy something, And you don't have to make it like, it mustn't be like a sacrifice as such. It is an investment. Good? It is an investment. You're investing in your own food bill, you're investing in your future. You know, my neighbors, and I'm seeing me growing the same kale and Mr. Thing talk about. I get some kale from Shango, and I plant them, and they come in real good. So the neighbor and them start to buy from me, or they want to buy. No, I'll give them at first, right? And then they start to feel shame, and they start to give me a little $10 and things. Although, neither here nor there, but it is helpful if you have to go and buy a little pack of 20, 20, 20, for instance, you have that little change in your pocket. So I am encouraging you all to start small and let the people who observe and say, well, look, these people have an interest. It's a thing talk about all the success stories, and they are very good. I know you have some very committed people in the ministry who want to see projects succeed, right? Now, that's a little bit about some of the work I did, so that you can know. Now, we did a training program up in Upper Bond Road, and people wanted to do agriculture and same thing, little urban things. And we had a whole training program about not just the agriculture, but about environmental, preserving the environment. Because down there are water rushing down here and washing out lands and things. So we start up with a bioengineering project, teach them about water trap, silt trap, rip wrap, you know, plant the edges so that you could manage the drainage, put water so that you could save water. When the dry season comes, you have a little source of water. So we did some of that as well. I have done, like, one of the things, if Mr. McMahon and Mr. Morgan could get one of the ministries involved, like at one time, the Prime Minister himself sponsored a program in the SHARE program under the Ministry of Social Services for the entire southern region, from Chagonas going all Cedars, Princess Song, Moruga, all about down there. I was like one of the technical people, that people from the ministry. And people were encouraged to plant their own yard. And they had a competition. So you planting up your own yard, you're putting in whatever you want. You could put in flowers, they got flowers that sell too. Good? People that buy ginger lilies, they buy roses, so you know, it depends on what you like and what you feel to do. And everybody do something, and we carry it on for months. You know, supervising, going, visiting, giving advice, and so on. And people would share. When you have a number of people involved in things, they would share resources, they will share something, they'll share knowledge, they will share some. They'll come and spray the crop for you, right? They'll give you something to put in it. This is how we have to move forward, people. This is how we have to move forward. We cannot depend on the dependency problem or syndrome, sorry, not a problem, it's a syndrome, is what we have to try to erode gradually, little bit by making ourselves self-sufficient in particular ways, right? Yeah, I don't want to really dwell on like my CV, but I worked on several of these type of projects in the beta mark as well. When Reverend Garnet Springer of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church was doing things, there and up at the Ethiopian Orthodox Church in Aruka, they had a big yard, and we put on several robots, and plenty church people used to come and help and plant up, and you know, you have a schedule, you have a route system. So that is another option that is available. You all in the community have to work on these things and see. Of course, nowadays, all over, security is a problem. Security will be a problem. So that is one of the things you have to work on as well. I would suggest that you come up, you have to start working on this thing, like if it's a project we're doing, what we want to do, fine-tune it. The ministry people is here to help. I am here to help, Assad, and other people. Mr. McMahon as a man with a lot of history and connections and so on. So, I want to stop for a minute and ask if anybody wants to ask anything. Any kind of question?
What sort of ideas you'll share with us in terms of like this planning area? Because you know, you might not have enough land on the ground to sort of participate
Right.
in grow box. But what you could do to do things vertical,
Right.
yeah.
Ministry is here to help with that. And of course, you could get a lot of knowledge on your own from the internet by Googling things. You could get a lot of information, you could get a lot of techniques and so on. And probably every so often, probably meet some people, even if it's a few, and they go through some things, get some ideas, make notes, and go back and start to implement things like that.
Right. But we was hoping that we could get some guidance. Yes. We'll get some support with the ministry to help promote that, because as I say, we hardly have the land space now. So if we encourage that sort of them special flowers, I think it's very expensive. That could be promoted
Yeah.
in the wash house and all this kind of thing like that. Mr. Assad want to say something.
In this area, they have a lot of plannings. They have a lot of plannings. Right? Tell us a little bit about the HGC landscaping project and how you think that could be support agriculture as well.
Essentially, we did have 29 projects, 33 projects with the Ministry of Housing. Those of you who would have noticed, young fellas might not know so much, but some of us would know that Piccadilly used to be in a mess. And that was one of the projects we worked on. We put up fence, we planted up the whole place. There's a lady, I can't remember her name offhand. She was in charge, and the ministry did provide some resources, but that was one of the projects. We did a number of them, like Kuva. Maloney was another big Ministry of Housing project. And that is our planning as well.
So we're saying, in other words, we could embark on that.
You could embark on things. You could start to look
Right.
at your living space, your environment, your community, and you could see what are the opportunities that present themselves. What opportunities we have here. What we could do,
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of the landscaping activity and design in the Port of Spain, we had 3 or 4 projects in Carenage, Scorpion Valley, we had Bones Road, we had by Abu Circular, what is it called again? In the back of the long circular mall. And a lot of them were Dundonald Hill. In fact, Dundonald Hill was a mixture of agriculture. They have hill and land, and people have spaces. So we had to tell them what to plant to hold the hill, to prevent water from washing down the place, and also to provide some kind of food or some income to them. But there was also the component of safety and security by lighting, by planting certain things, by cutting, by, that they could see spaces. And not only that, when people come to a place in an area, there is safety in numbers. So people always frequenting and always there, always have some kind of activity going on. Even children will come and play, they will come and learn, many things. Yes. Okay. Now, fortunately, when this grow box thing started off, when the ministry brought a man named Jacob Mitleider. You know that. They brought Jacob Mitleider to this country. NP paid the money. And I was fortunate to work with him throughout his entire stay in Trinidad. Nearly all the work he did some work up here at the CUC College in Maracas, but most of the work he did was on OWQ farm in Tasomas. So I learned plenty things from him. Plenty things, a bright man. And essentially he was here to sell an idea, but he was also here to sell products. So he used to come with his own range of fertilizer, chemical, pesticide, all kind of things. And one of the distressing things I see that that some people do, including the ministry, is promoting some of the most dangerous pesticides it have. Like they will tell you to spray this on pineapple and things like that. Now, I'll be doing my own big scale and small scale and backyard agriculture, but I don't own a spray can. I don't own one. Sometimes I just get one, borrow, I'll tell somebody to come and spray, but and I don't use no kind of pesticide that you're buying. They have a lot of things you could make. You could cut down, even when you're home, you could make pesticide from. Like I would soak neem leaf in a bucket and strain it out, and I would wet the plants with that. And over the years, teaching people try all kind of things. They try different things. Like I'll give you an example. Let me digress from crop and talk about chicken. Some people just give chickens terramycin and a number of antibiotics. But the people from the General Poultry Farmers Association, they started to use aloe vera in the water. No, we always tell people, don't cut out the usual thing, but they could supplement it. So they started to cut up aloe and grind it and put it in the water. And it helped. It helped them plenty. They cut back on the antibiotics. Same thing with plants. The thing about a plant is, Andrew Roy was a world famous agriculturist, organic farmer from Dominica. I went on his place on 2 or 3 occasions. He always advocated that you could grow your crop, and actually he was an organic farmer who mined a family, and he had plenty children, although don't want to hear the number. And he did all that on his own, on about an acre of land, about an acre and a half of land in Dominica. He mined all of them children with it. He had chickens. One of the things I saw up in Dundonald Hill was somebody had ducks mining in the backyard. A small yard, That's not normal small yard, but they had ducks. The thing about it is, you have to keep it clean. You don't let it get overcrowded, and you could do things. I see people up in Valencia, that's another housing project we are doing, who start to mine chickens in a little curb. They will mine a little bit and sell it out, and then they'll mine a little bit and sell it out. It helps them. They have chickens for their own self, and they have chicken to sell to the neighbor and so on. So they have many things. And then they have people I see have little small ponds, like a little narrow pond, like about from here to there. And you don't want to use bricks. It's have all kind of, in this modern world, have all kind of materials you could use. You just use plastic for that matter. And they have a few tilapia growing. Long time little fellas used to mine aquarium fish and sell to their partners in school. Yeah. So we have to start thinking, people, about how we're going to move forward with your own life. It's your own life you're thinking about here, right? Yeah, you have to be selfish here. You have to think about your own self, your own family, your own food bill, your own self-sustaining measures. That's how you have to start. And you have to start doing some things. Keep all the empty containers, don't throw them out. Cut them, keep them. You go find out ways and means to get soil to fill them. We definitely will need some help, right? In the initial outlay, you need help. You will need help. You will need to gain some pro mix and some sharp sand and some fertilizers, mainly fertilizer,
And the point I was trying to get across, there is certain plants you could grow within your plant.
Yeah, correct. You could, what you call intercrop. You could grow things in between it.
Yeah.
Like season in between
Yeah.
a crop. It help. It will help. I'm not saying it's going to solve the problem, but it does help.
Okay.
I see fellas used to take, like when they clean out the side, they would soak the waste material in water and use that as well as an insecticide. I've seen that. And of course, I don't think enough research has been done so that you can verify results, but it's working. So you have to work on it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to switch the question a little bit. Our colleagues on the Ministry of Agriculture talked about the incentive programs, and they talk about getting a farmer's badge and the problems associated with tenure. I think you had to take the call. Let him come. No, I want him to come back. I want him to answer the question.
So while we will oh
Okay. The point we're talking about that. Bringing some experience of national NFFA. Tell them what the NFFA is. Bring some experience about how farmers with tenure problems access and deal with this issue of the real issue of tenure as a problem. And how you access resources and that kind of thing when you have tenure problems.
Mr. Ramsey. He mentioned some things about the application process. Frankly, the application process is a very frustrating exercise. Very frustrating. Right? I don't want to be fooling anybody, and as I say, giving you no pie in the sky story. It is a very cumbersome because you have to get, even if your grandmother give you a letter or a lease saying you own the land, she have to know, make sure she pays she taxes. If you go to the ministry office with all the tax receipts, they're sending you back home, and they could be ending up going up and down and up and down and spending money, right? Now, I'm not discouraging anybody. I think everybody should start the process. Start the process. The ministry people seem to be very willing to assist. Maybe they could point you into the direction to make your application what you need. You have a little paper they give out with all the requirements. You have to have your land. Plus, they always say you have to have it cultivated to a certain percentage, which is what I know for sure. If you ain't had nothing on the land, they won't bother with you. So you have to have some kind of activity going on, even though it might leak. You're not fully cultivated. So the process should start. Those of you who have family or who have access. Now, NFFA position on what is a farmer was always anybody who is producing food with a marketable surplus. That is a farmer. That is a farmer. You producing food, you have 10 chicken in your yard and you eat 2 and you sell 8, you're a farmer. You have 10 tomato tree in your yard, you put 3 pounds inside the kitchen and you sell 15 pounds, you're a farmer. That was NFFA position. I don't know why it's the ministry position clearly right now. So, we will recognize you as a farmer and we will assist you as a farmer if this is where you're heading, this is where you're going. Simple thing. My front fence is what do you call this thing? Chain link. And it has Karaili growing on it. It has Bodhi growing on it. It has mauve same growing on it. Front and back. Front and back. And I just give away by big bag. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, right, we have a problem with obtaining tenure if the land is on residential, yeah, not for residential and agricultural purposes.
Well, the ministry might be able to.
Have this one with residential land and agricultural land.
Yes, it have the.
Majority area would get an agricultural purpose.
No. Here would be classified as residential. I don't know if the ministry people could help you with that question.
Yeah, the majority. My name is Sharon Isaac. I'm from Duncan Street Community, President of GROW, acronyms for Green Restoration Organization and Workshop. What we want to know is the majority of lands we have around our thing is residential.
Yeah.
Will we be able to access that tenure with our residential lands that we might have the permission to use and stuff like that?
Well, let me give you an example. Alright, so recently, some young fellas in Tagarigua approached me to help them with the agriculture project. What was going on is this man was building up a big set of condos in a big block of land. It was probably about like a 2-acre, 2.5-acre block. But something happened during COVID and project shut down. So the place are kind of like abandoned, more or less abandoned. They had 1 or 2 fellas who just went in because it was a nice big building, and they went and they started living and occupying. And then they decide they want to plant up. So I tell them the first thing to do is to ask the owner permission. Get out A-OK for me because you don't want to fight and no warfare with them. And he said, okay. And he agreed that they could plant particular kind of thing. He didn't want you planting no mango trees and no coconut trees. Right? But you could plant any annual crop.
Sure,
Sorrel, peas, any fine crop.
Short term.
Right. Any kind of crop like that, give them permission. And they start up on their own. I give them some help. I buy about 10 trees of different kind of plants for them, 10 or 12. And I buy a spray can for them because they want to spray. And I buy, although I never buy a spray can for myself, I buy one for them. There's about 2 or 3 weeks I go out talking about, very recently. And some fertilizer and things. And they start up. And as it's starting up, they're starting to get the support. So if you could get, if it's a urban area, you have to find out who is the owner. The first thing you have to find out is who is the owner. If the owner is the Ministry of Housing, you might be able to get through. If it's a private fella, he might say, yeah, well, we could. Mr. McMahon will convince him.
And I wanted also to ask if well, this is a new thing coming to East Port of Spain. Majority of the youths and thing were on this program looking for that financial freedom. Hence the reason why I think the gentleman was trying to bring across the proper integrating of Ministry of Agriculture with the NGOs of these communities to ensure that we get 20 acres of land when we're done with training 50 youths or whatever, that we could access transportation to go up there and continue working this on a holistic effort. That we could bring across now for the women and them in the community agro processing where they could be making the peppers, the thing, or spin-off from. So we go sure we have a customer within the communities doing this agro processing, and then will the ministry could come on board to tell us how we could really partner with them in bringing a certain amount of crops towards the economy to help make us more sustainable as individuals also, and make the government more sustainable, like cutting the importation bill and stuff like that.
Right. I'm glad you bring up the thing about agro processing because we tend to waste a lot of products in Trinidad. We tend to dump that 3 tomatoes in a bottle in say Massey stores is about $30-something. 3 tomatoes in a bottle. Go and check it out. For 5 the young cucumber, what is called dill, are that in a bottle with some water and a little bit of seasoning or something, whatever they put in. Vinegar. It's plenty money. You know that a baji I used to cut on that with brush cutter.
Mr. Jack.
No, poi baji selling $32 or $33 per half pound bag in the same Nilam. And it's coming from, the States. Check it out.
Mr. Assad want to make a comment.
I want to address the point you make. All right? From my knowledge, agriculture is the default category for all land use in the country. Right? So all lands are historically classified as green or agriculture. That's a colonial thing. Because it goes back to when we were colonial, we were colonies, and our purpose was to produce raw materials for Europe. Right? And then, but you have to get permission for a non-agricultural use. or green conservation. So there's nothing preventing you, even though the land is classified as residential, from planting on it, except the public health ordinance, right? Which is to make sure that when you use the land, you don't create a public health nuisance or nuisance to your neighbors, right? So in other words, you have to manage your water if you're planting, that you're not breeding mosquito, right? You can't be planting things that overhanging in people's yard. So there's nothing preventing you from a land classified as residential from planting on it once you don't create a public health problem or nuisance to your neighbors, right? That's the first thing. In this area we're talking about, you'll be surprised at the amount of land that is actually owned by the government, right? So they have lands all over the place that is owned by the government, sometimes underutilized, derelict, and so on. All right? That arrangement can be made for part of a schoolyard, for example. I'd asked Glenn to talk about the HDC landscaping project, because the HDC was really concerned to start with about prettying up the place. But there's a thing called productive landscaping. You don't just have to pretty it up. Instead of planting hibiscus, you could plant productive trees, pimento. Some of the areas that have not been utilized in these same HEC properties can be utilized for productive agriculture. And this is something that Anna is working on. They have a lot of little spots all over the community that is not productive, that's overgrown, that created nuisance. The same public health ordinance, right, can make somebody who have abandoned their property utilize it properly. So an agreement could be had with somebody who have a lot. You come in and tell them, you can't keep that property in that state, including government properties. Clean it up, enter into an agreement, plant it. So there are a lot of opportunities in the urban area where there's lands that is sitting down there, derelict, creating a public health nuisance, that if the public health ordinance and the city corporation were to go and tell the person, do something properly with this, right? Arrangements can be made to plant it up properly, productively, with arrangements where people don't feel they losing their land. So those are some of the components that we have to talk to the city corporation and the public health components as a component of the Ministry of Health, right? So there are lands all the way around, and then the private owners. Mr. Morgan is speaking right now about a piece of land that's abandoned, St. Vincent de Paul
St. Vincent de Paul.
land. But if you go right down the road, just down the road here, you will see public buildings abandoned. Workers' Bank is an example, right? They have a lot of lands abandoned that not being utilized, that can be, by some arrangement with these authorities, be brought into communities and partnership with the youth and so on and organizations like yours.
Right, when Mr. Ramjat, Mr. Glenn complete his thing, I just want to make a little statement.
Yeah, but Asa can answer that. Well, you all might know that Asa is an urban planner, so he have all this kind of information about what they could do and what they can't infringe on at his fingertips. But the point is, it is possible. There is available space, and you just have to move on it. Now, as you guys see here, much of the assistance for some of the public programs that we had didn't come from the ministry. About 80 to 90% of it came from the private sector. And I know big corporations, ordinary little fellas within your community or a little business. And you can say, we do something in the community. And even if they give you one little bag of fertilizer or 5 chairs seeds, they're still moving forward. The thing is to keep moving forward. So don't put your eggs in one basket and depend on any one benefactor. What you have to do is to check out the community properly, make up your plan, your intention, your aim, have it down, and have the people who are going to meet these people well versed in it so that they could put forward the case. And you will get somewhere. Right? As we say, we're doing our now we have designed a type of agricultural system called ecological crop management. It's something that the ministry, in collaboration with other people like some of the research people in Kabi and so on, have been designing over a long period of time. Right? Whereby we're trying to cut down on pesticide usage, fertilizer usage, cut back on these things. Right? And it is called ecological because we don't want to poison the environment either. Remember that when you spray a crop, let's say you spray a crop with faster go on the crop. When you wet the crop, the faster it reaches the ground and gets down into the aquifer, gets down into the drainage, go all about the place. You know, so we're trying to have a broad view of everything, a holistic view, as we say. You know, and as the program gets going, a lot of new ideas will come into play, and I think people will just turn out on a morning means you're committed to it. So this is a very good sign. This is a very good sign. Now, the gentleman who just talked about the agro processing, you know, like our friends in Jamaica, I sold Jamaica and things too. Doing much of the same kind of thing. They don't waste nothing in. They don't waste nothing. Everything. They bottle, they make jam. They'll make jam from crab apple, which is a wild thing growing, and put it, and then they exchange it among friends and family. That we sharing things so that all this is how we making our living more sustainable, more comfortable. Let's try it around. That we have guava tree, we have guava and mango throwing away in this country. Mango does make a lovely jam. You make a cup of thing, you have to go and open a factory, you know. A small cottage industry in your home, in your kitchen. Or if somebody have a kitchen, or if you could get space that you could probably just put in 1-2 industrial so and so on, you could make things. Another thing is, when we're looking at agriculture, you look at it all along. You look at just planting, the same, getting back to the same agro processing. When, look, pimento was selling, I pay $1.50 for pimento. $1.50 for one. And I found some dollars, so you could easily say, look, I want to do a little business with it. When it's cheap like that, I want to buy plenty, and I could preserve it. So I could freeze it and preserve it later on. And when it starts to get expensive, we have product to sell. That's how it should be. That is the reason why tomato has moved from $5 a pound to $25 a pound, because we're not preserving and just. Well,
Right.
I know farmers just bulldoze the whole tomato crop when it gets cheap in. They put a tractor and they bulldoze the whole crop and put in something else. But we have no processing facility.
Okay,
So
Mr.
I
Glenn.
want to say thank you all
Yeah.
very much for your kind patience.
Right.
And any other questions, just feel free to raise your hand.
No problem. No problem. Now, I want to get back to the audience because with the set of different direction we go in and so on, I believe is a overkill in some question, in some instance. Now we have two more. We're gonna have a little refreshment after we finish here, and before we go to the next speaker, I would like to just sensitize members of the to the sort of activity we have in mind. All right? We know our community is a downtrodden community where we hardly have jobs opportunity and so on. We've been saying that for the longest while. That is where most of the people come out here to seek, to find out in what way they could be employed, in what way there could be some kind of activity, economic activity that they could latch on to, they could be part of, and it could be viable for members, right? So we have an umbrella body, which is EPCO, run by Mr. Mark Mio. We also have a unit of that organization called SIPOS. This is SIPOS here, as you all know. We have certain particular programs that we like to mention in addition to the Grow Box and the other program that we more or less promoting. We have a studio. Most of you would know that it have a studio here. We have a CXC class that's be on a Tuesday and Thursday. We also have a video production unit, as you see in the back there, my son and Mr. Sean. And basically, we do things in the community that basically we encourage young people to be involved in entrepreneurial adventures, right? So it's all about economic empowerment to our people. That we're trying to embark on. So we're trying to approach the agricultural aspect where everybody could plant. We just need the technique and the knowledge of how to do it. So the government wouldn't be able to say, well, they don't have no job for you, they don't have no livelihood for us to participate in, right? So what we are attempting to do, I believe, is to participate in programs like this that we could sort of come out winning. Much people would like to be involved in a small business. You all want to raise all your hand, please? Anybody would like to be part of a small business? I know we have businessmen here already as well. We are contractors. That's so, Mr. Isaac. We are successful contractors. And we have a number of people who basically have ambition to sort of embark on programs that will ensure that the future, the next generation benefiting from what the opportunities that they get here today, right? So I just want to kind of keep it in a certain perspective. We know, well, we're going to be getting technical people. We're asking for the Ministry of Youth to come out and lend us some support, because the Ministry of Youth have a number of programs that they're willing to assist the youths with. We're hoping and appealing to Foster Cummins Ministry. You know somebody there? Well, that is why I'm making some tape here. All right?
All right. So good morning, everybody. I am Jamila. I am the founder of Fighting Depression Through Poetry and St. Paul Street FC. I have been living here for 9 years this year. I'm originally from South, and I started a program where I wanted to keep black boys off the streets. So I used the football as the initiative, and I have been doing it for the past 6 years. The business there is mine, thanks to Mr. Morgan. And I have been using it as a part of entrepreneurship for the boys, because we do punches, we do food, we do everything. And seeing that you're both of ministry, my problem is not ministry. My problem is feeling like you have to be begging, because they want to see great things come out of the community, but you have to beg to get the help to get it done. Because I haven't gotten $1 from ministry within the past 5 years. Everything I have done is from my pocket. Everything. I can't even begin to tell you how much money I have spent. And I am all well and fine with all the projects and all the things, but it's about time that we don't have to feel like we're begging for the help, because when you go all about, like, we have a big field in the back there. We are the only field in what they consider the ghetto community that has no lighting. None. Loch Hakata got their own fix. John get their own fix. And my thing is, we have so many youths, because I had over 150 of them before the war thing started. I had Duncan Street lots here, everywhere. And when the war started, I just remained with my bundle here. And they have ambition. They want the help. They're showing that they want the help. But again, they feel like they're begging, and then you'll get opportunities, and when they get the opportunities, it's for free. You can't go 3/4 of the places because of whatever war is going on. So when you find something that you're subjected to help or benefit the community, it's for free. You can't live on for free. So my question now is, with ministry, getting ministry on board, apart from the fact that it's something that is going to grow the community, is it going to be financially sustainable when you come out here, you use your time, you stay home from class or you stay home from your job to help build an initiative? How is it going to benefit financially?
Yeah. Where the next mic? Oh. All right.
Right? Because in Trinidad, there are plenty running around the ordinary people as have to do. We have to try to coordinate things. Like you want, Sir Morgan mentioned foster comment. So you're working with the Ministry of Youth, the Ministry of Social Services, and the Ministry of Agriculture. Those are the ones you want to work with. And you want to have some representative, not every day, but every so often that we could say, yes, this is what, and you get the commitment. One next thing I'll tell you, talking about the funding. A lot of the things we wouldn't go and tell them, well, give me our money. We say, look, we have a raffle. I went by Helen Bagwan saying all day when we were doing one of the, I think the same Piccadilly. And we say, I tell her, give me a brush cutter. You benefiting from all these people wrong here. It's them who have your business big. Right? I tell them in fact, I talked to the man first, and then I talked to the wife because he was kind of shaky. So I went and talked to the wife in the office, and one time before I left there, I left with a brush cutter in my hand. And we raffle that. We raffle it, you understand? We organize a raffle in the community, we get that free, and we get some money. So you have to be creative. I think you're on the right track.
All right.
Our next thing that I want to point out to the ministry so that some of the requirements for these youths to get into these courses is too much. Why should a youth have to get pay money to get a police record to do an agriculture course? That is impossible. Especially when that $50 could go towards buying a bread and something to feed my family. I mean, if you're trying to help youths, open this thing free and let them come in and let them get involved with the agriculture. Stop playing this game. Because I try to access some of them, I see they were Polish record and things like that. We don't need that. We need the youths to move forward, to put the past behind. And this Polish record, they don't need all that for agriculture. So I would like the necessary authorities, whoever, thinking to deal with that. Polish record and things necessary for you to get into our program, man.
I want to go on that.
Right, so good day. So the Ministry of Agriculture, the ones that I do know, any person could come to your training course, right? And we're not interested if you could read, if you could write. We come to teach, right? If I do a training course, we never use a blackboard. We never use pen and paper. When I do a training course, I do a training course just by conversation and repetition. So that's the first. This is the first time I'm hearing about a. No, that's that.
That is impossible. That is them. I mean, they need to make it easy.
Sometimes you really and truly feel like the program is for a certain criteria of people because a certificate of character. Then the way your passports, there were 2 forms of ID. The birth paper not counting as 2 forms of ID anymore. Then now police system, every minute the system down with the certificate of character. They don't want to hear about you have a receipt that you pay $50. So it feels like it's just a subjection to a certain type of people to get access to these things. Yeah.
I don't want people to sort of be confused with this and that. It mightn't reach there because perhaps people might, I like how Mr. Bunny speak, grassroots. anybody could understand what he's saying, because he's been practical. Isaac, you see, community people have a particular way in relating to the grassroots people. I'm not saying everybody's grassroots, but at the same time, we had to mix it up. I like how, everybody, we had to communicate, and I don't want to lose track from the audience that's here, because you all are our constituent. We had to have all the interests there. All you understand me? Right? So at the end of the day, as I said before, every month we intend to have the ministry here. If they may come, other people will come. But we get their blessings that they want to support and things like that, right? We intend to get the support of the ministry. We're not begging. We need the support and the finance and because the community is in need. We have to recognize that. All right? So the program is simply to empower ourselves. Suppose have something going on here. Isaac have his organization on Duncan Street. There is certain viewpoints, certain fears as to mingling across here. Some people asking for it to bring the program over there. I the only other participate, but we had to try. We had to reach crossroads. You all agree with me? Right. So at least it starts, and I wanted, well, my partner gone, but other people could demonstrate that. At the end of this video that we're making here, it will be on social media, and we want to ensure that we have about 2-3 young people from each side shaking hand or smiling or whatever gesture one want to make, and I like how the woman is here. The young lady is here. That could say a million and one thing. Yeah, that vision. So we could start that again. We're waiting on a very important spokesperson to reach, but we could have that imagery one time. So we put now when the end. You always see it on social media. It will have music. It won't be as how it is here now. It will be edited and so on. So let me start it now. Well, that's what I'm saying. Let me start it. No, but right. But let me start it with a few young people. I want you, my partner in the back, come. Yeah, come. And give a you too. Let me give them a clap. It's a photo shoot. It's a photo shoot. You do that if you want a female. You want a female. Yes. You want a female. Yeah. Right, I hug up. Yes. Yeah, nothing wrong with the face. Nothing wrong with your face. So, right. So we welcome this and we continuing this on every mountain. We having programs here, and the message must go out there that a peace have been brokered in order to go forward with our drive, our economic empowerment drive. And you all would see, I must mention, the motto is planting seeds towards alternative wealth. Planting seeds, we into agriculture, we want to be planting seeds towards economic wealth. So I guess everybody have a clear understanding of where we're going. Yeah. Everybody have a clear understanding? Right, so